What is up, guys? We're back with another YZ300 video. Got the bike all dialed, just installed these fresh KYB stickers on the forks to tie it all together, and the girl is ready to go. I also did just go ahead and drop the needle. I'm really excited to take this thing for a spin around the block and see how it's running with the jetting corrected. This thing has been no slouch, even running rich, so I'm really curious to see how hard it hits with that needle dropped. Woo! She crispy, baby, and she smells good. Low end feels phenomenal. Like the bottom end is just instant response. The bottom end feels great. She's running crisp. This thing is ready to hammer some single track. Honestly, it's what this bike is craving right now. I want to go ride it so bad. Tranny is smooth as butter, just pops right into neutral. She's done. Let's put some 531 graphics on this thing. Cameron Yamala's Broke to Built contest is coming up crazy soon. The deadline is April 30th, so it's just about time to do a final photo and video shoot on this bike. Again, someone is gonna win this thing, and as of last week, all of the online entries are sold, so thank you all so much for the support. This build has exceeded any expectations I had. So I started thinking for Cam's contest, this bike would look better with real numbers than with Win This Bike. We've got DeCal Works coming in clutch with some fresh numbers. You might be wondering, 531, that's not your number. Well, 531 is the date of the drawing, May 31st. So guys, wow. It's always unbelievable when one of these projects come to a close. I have to say, somehow I think this is my best build yet. I knew that it would be hard to top the RM125 from last year, but I'm incredibly proud of the outcome of this bike. And this really was made possible with the help of some amazing companies in the industry. So what I want to do now is do a little bit of a breakdown of the bike and go over what parts I used on it and why. With what I paid for the bike itself and all of the parts that went into it, this is about a $9,500 build. I'm very fortunate to be working directly with lots of the companies whose parts I used on this bike, so my personal build cost is a bit less than that. But if you were to take a 2005 YZ250 and then do everything I did to this one at MSRP, you'd be looking at about $9,500. Now that said, my cost for the bike itself was only $750. I bought two blown up YZ250s from my buddy Danny for $1,500 total. For all of these companies, with the exception of Panthera, this is the first time I've used a Panthera product, I have personally purchased and used products from all of these companies before. I pride myself on only working with companies that I truly believe in and have experience with. So everything on this bike, I stand by. We'll start with DeCal Works, who was one of my first ever sponsors. This year, they started offering holographic options for their graphics, and I think this kit turned out absolutely incredible. They're awesome because they'll send you your first proof and then work with you to get it just right so you're happy with what you want. I was pretty picky about how this YZ300 looked on the shroud, and they got it dialed exactly the way I wanted it to look. They also do custom seat covers, and the seat cover really tied this bike together. So highly recommend DeCal Works for all your graphics and seat cover needs. These guys are absolutely awesome, super nice, super helpful, and great quality kits. Next up, we've got Millennium Technologies. I have had a lot of questions about what exactly the 300 in this bike is. People are wondering if it's an aftermarket cylinder or what the deal is. Millennium took the stock YZ250 cylinder and power valve components, they overbored the cylinder and modified those power valve components to make this a 300cc displacement. At this point, Millennium has replated countless cylinders for me, and every bike I've reassembled has ran great. Also great people over there and a wonderful company to work with. Next up, we've got Shinko Tires. I have ran nothing but Shinkos for the last 4 years here in Montana, and I absolutely love them. For this bike, we went with the 546 series front and the 520 series in the rear. ProX provided pretty much all of the rebuild kits for this whole bike. That includes braking components, bearings, gaskets, seals. I've had a great experience with ProX products over the years. They are an affordable aftermarket option to OEM. Next up, we've got Phathead Racing with this absolutely stunning cylinder head. If you are not familiar with Phathead, they are aftermarket cylinder heads for 2 strokes with interchangeable domes, which allows you to change your compression ratio just like that and switch from pump gas to race gas, no problem. Luke at Phathead Racing is a super helpful, super genuine guy, and you won't be disappointed if you put one of these on your bike. Next up, we've got IMS Products. They are most well known for their aftermarket oversized tanks like this one. Again, being an off-road build, you gotta be able to go the distance, so this was a super important addition to this build. But maybe slightly less known is IMS makes awesome foot pegs as well. For this bike, I went with the Core Enduro foot pegs from IMS. They have got a nasty bite to them. They look great and they bolt right on. Next up, let's talk about Panthera Racing. How cool is it that we're staring at what was once a 2005 YZ300 that now has electric start. Truly an impressive feat of engineering. The quality of the parts and components and everything that went into the development of that Panthera kit is very impressive. The kit for this bike does come in just shy of $2,000. So guys, no, it's not cheap, but if you're a Yamaha lover who wants to turn your bike into the ultimate off-road bike, so many people say, oh, if you're gonna do that, why don't you just buy a KTM? Well, honestly, there are a lot of reasons. If you have a YZ300 that you're happy with and you're on a good platform and you just want a button, realistically, that $2,000 might actually be less than selling your bike and finding a KTM that you're happy with. Also, Panthera does make kits for other bikes. They've got it for the RM250, the CR250, there's a handful of other bikes. So they of course will be linked down below if you're looking for an aftermarket electric starter for your bike. I can't yet speak on the long-term success of the Panthera kit. Obviously, I've really only ridden this bike up and down the block, but so far it's been working flawlessly and I'm thoroughly impressed. Next up, we've got Wiseco. This bike has a Wiseco clutch basket and a Wiseco crank in it. I did a pretty in-depth talk about that Wiseco crankshaft in the engine build video for this bike, so if you want to hear more about that, it will be linked on screen and in the description. But the bike so far has been running flawlessly. Moving forward, we've got Fastmetric Fasteners. I've been working with them build after build for the last few years. I absolutely love Fastmetric. New bolts on a bike go a really long way, and refinishing every bolt on an old bike is a really tedious process. You can get a jumbo bolt kit from Fastmetric with pretty much everything you need for a bike for about 50 bucks, and they offer just engine fastener kits where everything is separated into bags for which part of the engine it goes on. Brand new shiny bolts, all the correct sizes, no hassle, and those are only like $25. So if I'm building a bike, getting new bolts for it from Fastmetric is kind of a no-brainer. Next up, we've got Magura. This build, as many of you might know, was supposed to have a Magura hydraulic clutch on it. I did install that clutch and it worked phenomenally, and that was before I had tested the bike with the electric starter kit. Remember, we got the bike running with the OEM stator and flywheel using that Magura clutch, and it was smooth as butter, and it's truthfully a shame that I couldn't leave it on this build. Unfortunately, the slave cylinder was binding with that electric start kit. The clutch still worked, but it would not have lasted purely because those two products are incompatible together. That said, I have used Magura hydraulic clutches in the past. I put one on an 04 YZ125 I built years ago, and I absolutely loved it. Nothing but great things to say about that product. So if you're looking for an aftermarket hydraulic clutch for your bike, if you're tired of pulling a cable clutch, I would definitely recommend checking out Magura. Next up, we've got Cerakote. They provided the gun and the colors for this project. This was actually the first time I have ever used Cerakote. It was quite the learning experience, but once I got it figured out, I have been very pleased with the results. Definitely one of the most durable coatings you can put on dirt bike parts, and what I particularly liked was how thin it is. It was incredibly easy to install the swing arm. I was able to thread the adjusters right onto the Cerakoted shock body with no issues whatsoever, so Cerakote makes a quality product. We've got Pryme MX, which is the company started by Cameron Niemela, who's actually hosting the Broke to Built contest that this bike will be entered in. But Pryme MX cleaning wheels are what were used to clean up pretty much everything on this bike. This kickstarter, this clutch cover, the water pump, everything you see that's nice and shiny, that is thanks to Pryme MX. I will have an affiliate link in the description if you want to purchase some cleaning wheels or anything else from the shop. Cameron's actually stocking lots of parts and rebuild kits now as well. I get a little kickback from anything you purchase using my link, and you'll be supporting Pryme MX, which is an awesome American-owned company started by an awesome guy. So win-win. Next, we've got AXP Racing, who provided this extreme skid plate for this build. These are absolutely essential for off-road. The linkage guard is incredible, allows you to slide right over logs and obstacles. I run these on every single bike I ride off-road. And for anyone who's missed seeing the process of exactly how I've got an 05 YZ300 chassis with 2023 bodywork here, I learned about this from Charles over at MX Revival, who did this on his steel-framed YZ500 build, which was absolutely insane. But essentially, to make this work, all you need is a 23 subframe, 23 airbox, 23 tank, seat, and plastics. And then from there, everything bolts right up, no problem. You've got yourself a modernized YZ. So guys, that's a breakdown of the build, and I would like to touch on what is coming next. So as I mentioned, the Broke to Built contest deadline is April 30th. So next week, you're gonna be seeing the before, during, and after video submissions for this bike for the contest. The final build video for this bike is well underway, and I will be announcing the date that will be premiered. That build video, of course, is a condensed version of the whole start to finish build process so that you can see this thing from what it once was and what it is today. Finally, on May 31st, I will be live streaming the selection of the winner, and then shortly after that, you'll see a video of this bike getting delivered to its new owner. I wanted to make this little breakdown video as an appreciation to all of the sponsors who helped out on this build, and to give you a little bit of an idea of what goes into a build like this. Be on the lookout for all of that content coming soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. Again, entries sold out so much faster than I ever could have imagined. So you guys already have me brainstorming for the next build. If you enjoy these videos, like ratings go a long way, comments go a long way, clicking that subscription button goes a long way. You guys are awesome, thank you, and I will talk to you guys very soon with another video.